History again in the making, as for the fourth time this season alone, the US attendance record for professional women's hockey was broken. And just incredible. We had to, the next day, double check the capacity numbers for MSG, and it was confirmed that capacity that we got was every single seat filled. So that's the second time this season a arena had filled every single seat. So obviously Pledgeria did it in the Torrance first game back from Milano, and we've had it here again in MSG, which is just such, incredible moment. And I kind of feel, for those of you who are watching on the video, I feel like I'm in the right jersey. In fact, it's literally just arrived today. On Easter Monday. When we're recording this, it's literally just arrived today. I feel like I'm in the right jersey for this episode, because you go back to that inaugural season, you say to me that one day we're going to have a game in Madison Square Garden. I don't think I would have believed it for a second, because it just wouldn't feel possible in what is such a very early stage for our league. This league is so young. It's only 3 seasons old. We're in year 3, guys, and yet what we've achieved is just so incredible. And when this game got announced back in January, did the tickets fly very quickly. So you can't pin this on Olympics, guys. I know a lot of you want to try and pin it on Olympics, and of course some people will admit artists trying to pin it on Olympics. You can't do that, okay? Because we were already smashing records and breaking seasons before Milano Cortina, and we're just carrying on where we left off. So you can't use that as the reason, guys. Okay, you just can't. Okay, so don't even try. Don't even try. But yeah, it's crazy to think how you to say back in that inaugural season we would go there. I wouldn't believe it. Especially also this week coming up with TV Garden as well. That is just such an incredible moment as well. And unfortunately, because of the capacities, we will not be seeing another record in Massachusetts on Saturday. But we are expected to get another massive crowd, because that is also sold out. So I do kind of wish the two had been flipped around just because of capacity wise. And that number could say we've done it 5 times, not 4 times. But hey, we'll take what we're given. Yeah, so just such a incredible moment. 18,006 showed out for this one-off MSG game. That was just such an incredible moment, and that is the full capacity for hockey at Madison Square Garden. Just incredible. I mean, wow. It's mind-blowing. I'm going to be quite lost for words throughout this episode, which is not good for a podcast, but yeah, it's just amazing. I mean, to say, that is just, you'd say we would get at least, 10,000 in MSG. That would have been quite quick. Because obviously the Sirens, since season 1, the Sirens have always struggled with attendance. And I think that's largely due to the fact we didn't get the arenas right in season 1. In season 1, we split between Connecticut and Long Island, and the numbers just did not work. And the System Potential Centre, yeah, they're still not great. The Sirens are still bottom in terms of attendance, but I think the numbers have been compared to these 2 seasons. So season 2, season 3, I think the numbers in Prudential Centre in Newark have been a bit better than the numbers were in season 1. And I think if the league was able to market it right in Newark, then you could maybe get more people in, because Seattle is able to do this on a night in, night out basis, and they can get upper bowl fill as well. So I think maybe we need to start looking at that for the teams who are in NHL arenas, so like us and Sirens. Maybe we need to do what has gone on the Kraken's barn for PHL games, and you open the upper levels and see where that goes. But it's just, yeah, so the Sirens needed this moment. We talked about this back, in January when it was announced. We talked about how this was a huge moment, not just for the league, but also for the New York Sirens as a franchise, to be able to basically shut up the critics and say, no, there is a fan base, it's just, you've got to find a way to get that fan base out and moving. And I've seen the patheticness. Now, it is pathetic. I have seen the patheticness on social media about people stirring up the whole, move them back to New York. Okay. I did look up the distances when it was announced the Stars were going to be moving to Prudential Centre back in September 2024. I looked up the distances. Okay? It is not that far from New Jersey to New York. Okay? You can easily do it on a subway. All you need to do is get off your lazy backsides and get on a train and go down there, alright? Okay, if that where you might miss the last train back, then go and find an Airbnb. I nearly said Travel Lodge there, but I don't think you have Travel Lodge. I nearly said that. Oh god. Okay, so it's absolutely pathetic. Is this really how you guys want to spend your Easter weekend? Seriously? No, honestly. Go crack an egg. Go crack an egg, okay? No, so just for goodness. So don't even get me started on that. Don't get me started. Okay? The Sirens are firmly going to be in Newark for the foreseeable future. Get used to it. Okay? There are plenty of New York teams who have called New Jersey their home, and they're doing fine. The New York Liberty, for example. Okay? So let's not even start that conversation. I mean, this is why women's sports doesn't get nice things, because immediately the day after something nice and wonderful historic happens, the next day it just gets torn apart on Twitter. That's what this is why we can't have nice things in women's sports, because the next day social media will just tear it apart, and that is exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Next day, Easter Sunday, we were all supposed to be, celebrating the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ, alright? Instead of that, we've got people online just basically causing pathetic fights, which is completely unnecessary. And, yeah, I also got dragged into one, but that's because somebody thought that this was a Tegator game. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was not. Okay, so let's remember that for TD Garden next week, okay? When we come back this time next week to do reports on that, okay? So let's not go there. But just such a historic moment for the PHL. Again, it just shows how we are growing at a more faster and accelerated rate than I think we ever thought. Because going back to that inaugural season, we all knew the growth had potential, but we kind of thought this would be a slow and steady wins the race kind of thing, okay? And we all thought it would take time, so it would eventually build and build and build and build. We did not expect to come out the gate straight away in year one and just be straight at it, and the fact that we managed to add 2 new teams this season, and are going to be adding more next year, it's all pretty much confirmed now. Expansion news is coming. So let's not be surprised if we get to, say, the penultimate week of, or the last week of the season, regular season, and they announce, here's where we're going next year. Okay? would not be surprised. But we still need to get draft details for the edge draft coming up in June. We still need those out. And normally this would be the period when we would get that news. So we just need to keep an eye on that. But yeah, but we didn't think that the growth would happen this quickly at a rate where we are basically, you know, we're ahead of schedule. We are ahead of where we want to be as a league, as an organisation. And because there's still so many things the league still needs to work out. Like, obviously, sponsorships, development systems, national television deals, which I do think now might be more realistic than it would have been, say, 3 years ago. I think now, obviously, we've had that Takeover Tour game with Script Sports. We're going to have the World Cup finals beyond Script Sports. I would not be surprised if, say, in September or October, we get the announcement of, Script Sports is going to be our national US part of the television rights. I would not be surprised, and I wouldn't have a problem if that's the case, because Script Sports has got a proven track record of supporting women's sports. Go ask the WNBA and the NWSL, because they can tell you that for themselves. Obviously, I'm not involved with those, so I can't. Yes, it's just absolutely incredible. So it kind of disheartens me a little bit that straight away, the day after everyone's going online, started to now do the whole, well, should we move the Sirens back or not? I'm shutting that down right now. Sirens are going to be staying in Newark. End of discussion. Period. I'm going to put a period to that. Period. Okay? Sirens are doing fine in Newark. They actually are building community. It's just they need to focus on how do you get more people there on a regular basis. Okay? It actually isn't that far. It's a train ride. Okay? New York citizens, you can do it. Just get off your lazy backsides. Okay? Don't bring the interstate rivalry into it, okay? Just because it's New Jersey or New York, come on. You know? If you really want this to succeed, you find a way to do it, okay? So come on. Don't give me that excuse. It's in New Jersey. No. Get off your lazy back arse. So, get off your lazy arses, off your backsides, get on a train, on the subway, get down. Okay? It's easy for you guys, okay? Be lucky, New York, that you actually have teams that are close to you. We are still on island in Minnesota, by the way. Okay? So I'm praying that these expansion teams will be closer to home for us. Anyway, but no, just incredible moment. No, and this was exciting matchup. Because the Torrent and Sirens matchup this season has been a thriller to watch. All 4 of those games, 3 of which have actually been in neutral territory. Because obviously the first game was in Seattle, that's prime venue. The second one was in Dallas on the Takeover Tour. The third one just recently before this game was actually in Chicago, Takeover Tour. And now we've had this one, MSG, neutral site. So poor Seattle have yet to visit Newark. They've yet to go to Prudential Center. And they're going to have to wait a full year. They're going to have to wait till season 4 before they can do that. That is just... Sadly, that's the way the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid, with the way the schedules work. But, yeah. But if I was a Seattle Toronto fan, I would be desperate to get in all these bars, all these private venues, and just check them out. And they don't get to do that. Whereas if in Vancouver can say they would have done that. But I don't think Seattle won't mind too much, because obviously there were quite a few players on that roster who were original Sirens players, like obviously Alex Carpenter, who I was still surprised was taken in the expansion process last year. She, of course, was on our protection list. You also had Corrine Schroeder, who was also original Siren. She is now starting to get a bit of getting the majority of the starts. In Seattle, I mean, originally Hannah Murphy was getting those starts, which Pluto was really impressed by. Now it's now Corrine Schroeder now seems the main starter, which won't surprise me given how you are getting close to the end of the regular season and there's a lot on the line in terms of both playoff standings and goal plan. So they do a back-to-back we got this week still, so it'll be interesting to see what they do on that front. They've got Montreal tomorrow night, and then the next day on Wednesday they're going to be in Ottawa. So we'll see how it goes there. And then Crown matchup, we are going to do an episode. We're going to recap the game, by the way, guys. Okay, we're going to do that. We are going to do that. With both games in the Garden, we're going to do recaps for them. So that is going to be coming up. So I'm not going to talk about the game today. We'll do that another time. We'll do that on the episode. Regarding it, no, I'm just blown away. I'm absolutely blown away about it. I know what you're thinking. I've been involved with the league from day one. I've been involved with the women's game since 2010, since I was 13. Should it really be blowing me away every time these records get set? Well, in a way, yeah, because it gives me pride and joy to see that my sport is growing at just an accelerated rate. But at the same time, it still reminds me back to those days where this league didn't exist, and the only time we could see it was once every 4 years. So moments like this just make me feel quite emotional, because it just reminds me how far we, in a very short space of time, have come. You know, and this is the way forward now. There's no going back to the dark ages of no pro league. It's incredible to see, incredible to witness, incredible to be a part of, and I'm always so honoured and privileged that I get to be a part of this league as your day one supporter and as your day one advocate, and yeah, it's just so incredible. It's one of those moments where you're gonna remember where you were on that night. How incredible has it been with this Easter weekend of the PWHL? You have Canadian Tire Fair, so CTC, the CTC game, the rematch between the Charge of the Big 12 and last year's CTC game. You have that on Good Friday, which of course obviously celebrates Jesus' death. Now on Easter Saturday, you have MSG, the most famous arena in the world. Alright. Just incredible. Unfortunately, there was no games for Easter Sunday, otherwise it could have gone right, because we could maximise it further. And there's no games on Easter Monday. Though we've not played on Monday at all this season. Mondays kind of feels like a rest day in the league. We've not had a Monday game in this season. Not too sure what the other team might go and check back on those, but we've not had a Monday game at all this season. I think that probably will continue into the World Cup playoffs as well. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, just to go on then. Would I like to see more of these in MSG? I don't know. I mean, for it to be like a once in a lifetime moment, that for me is incredible. Plus, how would you top that? You know, how would you end up topping that? Because, you know, obviously the Big 12 sectors, they have what's now an annual matchup in their AHL teams' respective barns, and I kind of feel those are basically just, you know, making the most of the opportunity in your market. Like, you've got a AHL venue nearby, you've got two markets that are literally burst at the sea, because if you're in Montreal or Toronto, it's very hard to get PHL tickets. Those two markets literally just sell out night in, night out. So it's always very hard to get tickets for those two teams. So I kind of feel I feel they have those neutral games there. It's kind of what you're just building on the momentum you got there. Whereas this, I don't know. Plus, if it's gonna keep doing stupid social media fights, I would not be up for it again as a regular thing. Okay, and I do not want to on the Sunday, like this weekend. I do not want the Sunday have to then see people that say, "Oh, move the Boston Fleet to TD Garden." Don't want to see that. Okay, so let's nip that in the bud now. Okay, because that ain't gonna work. All right, that ain't gonna work. Okay, so let's just leave it at that. But no, so would I want this to be a regular event? I don't know. Is the question. I'm not prepared to put my money up to my mouth sorry, not prepared to put my money where my mouth is right now on that. I'm not too sure. But for this to be like just a war for Ben, brilliant. Could this become a regular occurrence? I don't know. Because the way it worked is because obviously there was a TBD in the New York Siren's schedule in terms of the home portion, and the stars all aligned to put it in MSG. Brilliant. What I want to see is a permanent thing. I don't know. Because obviously with a venue like Madison Square Garden, and when we did the episode covering the announcement about the Boston game, we had obviously our Bruins supporter Reese Parsley come on, and he said, with regards to TD Garden, that we were very lucky to get this date because it's very hard to get events in TD Garden. And I kind of feel that's the same for MSG. It's very hard to get events scheduled. So I personally would not want people to get their hopes up for this to become a recurring thing, because you can't guarantee that this can be a recurring thing. Because obviously you've got other sports that go on there, you've got concerts go on there. So, yeah. It's just another event to go on all year round. So, I would not want people to get a hopes up that this could be a recurring event, where there's no guarantees it can be a recurring event. Okay? So, maybe try and manage your expectations there, guys, on... I mean, would it be nice to have another one? Yeah, sure, but I think it might be quite tricky to try and do that on a year in, year out basis. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's just an incredible, just an incredible moment, you know. And you definitely got your money's worth. You know, I mean, a shootout result was just, yeah, that was just wow. You pretty much got everything at Madison Square Garden. You pretty much got everything. So, yeah, but just like I say, it's another huge milestone, you know, to be able to break that record again. The question now is, and this is to lead you guys off, the question now is, can that record be broken ever again? Because, I mean, what other arenas in America can beat MSG? You know, so are we going to see those kind of moments happen less and less now? And it just be we build on attendances year in, year out? Is that the records that they're going to be smashing now? Because it's hard to think what other arenas in America can beat MSG in terms of capacity and in terms of attendance. That is the question to leave off. Was this now the peak, and that record is now going to belong to Madison Square Garden forever, just like how no one's managed to touch Bell Centre for the overall record, which of course was 21,000. That was back in the first Duel at the Top, which I think was PHL Montreal and PHL Toronto. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, but such an iconic venue to have that record. But yeah, it's going to take quite some beating. But it all depends on, you know, which markets we expand to. Okay, we've got no idea where we're going next, so it all depends. But I think Madison Square Garden would not be surprised if we don't see the record being taken from them for quite some time to come. So if I was them, I would hang a photo up in the rafters, because that was just a brilliant night all round for the league, and also for the city of New York to basically say, look, we are a serious market, we are legitimate, okay? Yeah, we've got our problems, but what market hasn't got its problems in sports? But I do have faith that they will work it out, and they will find a way to make a success in Newark one day, eventually. Maybe a playoff run might help. We'll see. I'm not sure it's going to be this season, because I think the margins are getting very slim for the Sirens now. They've got about 5 games left. One of them is against us. Well, they might feel lucky after the last meeting, but I think realistically, I think it might be one of the Ontario clubs who will get that 4th and 5th spot. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens it's going to be a very exciting stretch to the finish line. It's going to be a very exciting stretch. Yeah, but such a huge moment for the league as a whole, and just incredible. Never in the years did I think that 3 seasons ago we would be in a position where we could say we host a game in the biggest market. So look, in the biggest arena, in the biggest arena of the world, and the most famous one in the world. Never in a million years did I think that was realistic, and yet here we are. Here we are. It's just incredible. Just absolutely incredible. I'm speechless. I'm literally less speechless. So I think I'll leave it at that. What a incredible for our league. Just wow. So until next time, guys. Take care. Don't